Hey everybody, this is Jason Garcia. Thanks for tuning in. I have the fortune of having a great discussion with wedding and portrait photographer Bradford Jones today. I hope you enjoy. And to start it off, Bradford, thank you so much for coming on board and having a nice discussion with us.
It's really an honor. I'm pleased to be with you. It was great when you lived near me, but I'm glad we can connect around the world.
I feel that living in Tokyo has really made me reach out to a lot more people, kind of making connections that I didn't have previously. So this is a good thing. So tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
I am a photographer here in the Valley. I do work other places around the country, and I've done some stuff around the world. Most of my work comes close to home. I'm usually known as a wedding photographer, but I really try to keep my weddings down to 10 or 12 a year. There's something about protecting how special they are to me, so I can be really involved emotionally with my clients. And I learned early on that you can't abuse that.
One of the shots on your website features groomsmen and the groom gathered on some stairs, and the groomsmen are just having a blast. You know, they all have a drink. You know, one guy's like, oh, you know, and the other guy's laughing, and the groom is just.
Yep. I remember that photo. It was after the ceremony, and the reception was starting just behind where they're sitting. And, you know, a couple of guys had already had a few drinks beforehand, and what I loved was, you know, I just pulled the guys together and said, look, I really think I need to get a little bit more groom portrait stuff, because I felt like now they were hitting their stride and dropping their guard. So I think I had two assistants with me then, and one of them was above us, and as they sat on the stairs around to the side, there was an elevated area at the top of the stairs, and I had an assistant holding a big studio head in a softbox on a pole way out over them, so I could actually light them properly, because the lighting on that stair set was not very good. And then it came down to, I mean, that's just the technical part of it. I photograph as much with my ears as I do with my eye. You listen to what's happening, and sometimes you can predict where the moment's going to happen just by listening. And this was one of those times. And you know, I wound up, and I think I just called out the groom's name, and I just said, right here, look at me. And then this all just happened around him.
That's awesome. And you know, I can't wait to actually talk to you about lighting one of these days, because we recently had a conversation about what your rules are, what your thoughts are, all the techniques that you use with lighting, and I can't wait to get into that. Not only am I going to learn a lot, but I know that a lot of people out there are going to learn a lot too. So you also mentioned this landscape photo that you sent me as well, and man, it is just impressive, and I like how you concentrated on certain areas, the lighting and the shadows. And tell me about what went into that whole experience.
I had a wedding couple who wanted to take their whole bridal party and the officiant to Zion to do a slot canyon hike called the Subway. And they invited me along, not as the photographer, but as a friend. And I thought, wow, this is great. And so there we are driving into Zion, and I've had the good fortune of having been there 3 times. And I knew the route in, and there's these switchbacks as you approach the place you go to sort of check in. As we were doing that, I mean, I was just in the back of a 7-passenger van, and as we kept turning, I just kept thinking, oh yeah, I love that view, and oh my goodness. And I knew that if I looked to the left out of the car, I'd see where the mountains just go, and it looks too good to be real. There were spotty clouds in the sky, and as I looked over, I noticed also there were wispy clouds closer to that view. And I realized, whoa, there's like, most of the mountains are covered in cloud with this shaft of light hitting through on the closest face, and then like swirls going up. And I thought, I gotta get the phone out. And I literally got my iPhone out and first started trying to make a photo, and realized that, wow, I've got about 4 seconds to make this photo every switchback. And there's only a few left. And then I realized I gotta not get reflection off the glass. So I'm pressing the iPhone against the glass, but I just could see that there was something special there. And I seem to do a lot better capturing something that really feels, it has movement or power or emotion in it, when I just see an inkling of it and then I chase it, versus if I were to sit down and try to sketch out a vision. But when I was chasing this little vision, I finally caught it, and then I just flipped on a little noir filter in the iPhone app itself and thought, oh yes, this is it. This is how landscape happens for me. As I've said many times, landscape photographers are the hardest working photographers in photography. And every year I work in this industry, the more I gain respect for them being able to do what they do, because I can't do it. And so when I have these little itty bitty snippets of insight into, well, good luck is what it really is. And again, you just use the best camera you have, which is the one you have with you.
This has been really good. Thanks.
Oh, my pleasure. Gosh, there's still like 20 things I can think of that would be great to talk about.
Thanks for tuning in to Shutter Advance. There's always something going on here. I'm out and about. I'm talking to people. I'm taking some really incredible photos. Trying to shoot some video too. And stay tuned to see what's around the next bend. Thanks a lot.